I call the Board of Agenda meeting for December 13th, 2022 to order.
Now you can say. You're muted.
And my phone rings. Really? I have to play back and then the meeting started. I told you they're on the console by the TV in the living room.
Doesn't sound like district business.
Yeah, they just got recorded down. It's on silent.
Brenton's on board with this.
Okay, sorry. Okay, so we are, do we have any public attending?
We were gonna introduce the two new career
No.
staff, but they.
Yeah, but we need to do call to order and then public comments. There's no public
No public
comments, so we don't need any of that. And so now it's the two new recruits.
He's gone again, I think. I think they may have gone on my call.
You just got a fire call.
Oh, okay, so we can always throw them in at the end when they come back.
They're back.
Sure. And then if they're not here, then we'll,
We did change.
yeah. we can do that. I actually didn't, I read through it and I have no questions.
I had a couple of quick things that I hope are minor. Well, yeah, I intend them to be just minor asks, not a big deal. On page 3 under equipment and facilities, talks about the a planning meeting with TCOM regarding the replacement equipment on November 14th, and then the way I interpret what the rest of the sentence is that everything was good to go and all the stuff got installed on the week of between 21st and 28th. And so we have now all new communications equipment. Is that correct?
New mobile equipment.
Mobile.
We
Okay.
have not received the portable radio. They're replacing mobile, portable, and our 3 base stations.
Correct.
So mobile equipment was the only thing that was installed. Frankly, it was the most complicated because we have to tear into a truck and everything. So yes, we do. We have brand new mobile radios and all of our apparatus.
Okay. And then sort of as the follow-on to that, I know that the agreement we have for Station A2 and new installation there and all that kind of stuff. So if they're installing all of this, does that mean that has moved forward or is that moving forward?
That one of the 3-legged stools, the base station, that has not moved forward. It's still in county planning's bailiwick. And they have not begun work on that. We continue to correspond with the county, find out when it gets onto their.
So that was, maybe I misunderstood what that function of that system up there, that was part of the repeater for all communications devices.
Yes, that's
Correct.
part of the network.
It's part of the
It
network.
just happens to be at our station.
Correct. But that means there's a hole in the network currently that will be filled.
There isn't now. That site will be for the 700 megahertz net. Right now, all of the equipment is dual band. It operates on our current VHF system as well as 700 megahertz system that's not done.
Okay,
Our radios are capable of both. They're operating on the old system, the old VHF system now.
yeah.
Thank you. That
That's
new
the-
700 megahertz system is not planned to be turned on for another 2 years.
Okay,
Can
that helps me.
Can we wait on the questions and jump back to where we're?
Yes,
Is that
but-
okay? Okay,
I'll finish my sentence if I could,
okay,
please.
okay, yes.
Thank you, sir. That completes the thought process in terms of what the new equipment is and then what its capability on this. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and the intention of the project was to have equipment that could bridge the old and new system.
Thank you.
Okay, Levine.
All right, well, we're proud of, of course, of that. We're proud to introduce one Christian Valdez and Kyle Yenny. Christian has been a volunteer with us for 2 years and hired on, started up this fall, and we started up last Monday on the 5th. Kyle Yenny, new member joining us, and probably not from me, I'll let you guys kind of tell us about yourself. I think you know who Christian Valdez, and tell us a little bit.
Yeah, so I've been volunteering here since 2020. One sign there, another one on the way. I love this district, everything about it. It's a great place to work. And I love volunteering here, so it's nice to make what was kind of a hobby while I was working another job, now my full-time job. So
Nice.
yeah, happy to be here.
Kyle Yenny came from Cowlitz County, Cowlitz 2 Fire and Rescue specifically. Spent a good amount of time there, a couple of years, getting some experience under my belt before getting hired up here. Kind of a dream department, if you will, close to a large department, but far enough away that I don't have to deal with as much of the big city stuff. I'm looking forward to my time here and getting to know all of you.
Well, thank you. We're gonna be having a formal pin on, we do that like normal, but it's just timed out when you happen to be on stage. We want to say hello. Awesome, thank you.
Welcome.
Welcome
Welcome to the family team. Okay. Any more questions on the chief's report?
I have a question.
Sorry, so how-
One other, with regard to the water supply at Station 83 and the repairs there. Again, that's just sort of a temporary Band-Aid because we have a long-term plan for next year to actually rebuild that. Yeah.
So that was kind of my question. In the report, it said water quality problems. So was it a piping issue or was it actual water quality like bacteria in the water?
It was infiltration sediment.
Okay.
And it was a broken pipe.
Oh.
And we've, like Doug mentioned, we've patched it again. It's happened once before, a month or two ago.
So follow-up question to the same item. It says it's being monitored. I take
Pardon?
that, it says that the water quality is being monitored. I take it that it's okay as of now.
Until it's not okay again.
Glass water?
It was brown. Kyle showed me a picture of the toilet bowl and it was really brown. I mean, not nice brown. So, you know, ultimately, that's what we're gonna have to do.
Thank you.
One other question, also on the same page, you mentioned that there was a meeting with the South Bay Firefighters Association, just brought to mind the craft people. I was wondering if there's any discussion about what the status of that we can do.
Yeah, there was a discussion about fundraising events and so forth, and I think the craft feed was mentioned. However, one observation I made was that it is very labor intensive and, you know, unless I saw a lot more interest in actively participating, it's not likely to happen again. Right now, I just don't see it happening.
So it's in limbo at this point.
Pardon?
It's in limbo at this point, basically waiting.
Well, I think it's worse than limbo. I think it's,
Is there a plan for some alternate activity that draws community members into the?
that's what the association is working on, their leadership, their executive board is working on, yes. But we talked with them about it, if there were some things that the district could legally do to help that effort, you know, we're certainly open to it.
Gambling or something?
Well,
There you
like I say, that we could legally do,
Bingo night.
you know, just diverse small bit. That's exactly what was going on when I first joined. There was more effort in raising funds for the association than training or anything else.
Oh, wow.
And the association at that time had more money than the district did. So it changed.
well, the biggest value of that event isn't so much the money is, it's just the human connections.
No question about it.
If we can find some other vehicle to do that.
We're trying to work with the association to do that. Are there any other questions?
Okay. So, chief's report is done. And, presentation of annual
Oh,
assessment.
Brandon had a staffing.
Oh, staffing, sorry, Randy.
Sure, just to recap on it, we had our 10 new volunteers that joined up a couple months ago and got them onto platoons. A and C platoon got a heavy load of the lateral and some recruits going in through, so they're working through processing, how to digest all that. It's always a big undertaking to have get people spun up. Well, it starts looking like it kind of fills out on the platoon chart. It still comes with the challenge of getting them settled in and brought up. And then, of course, we already introduced our 2 new career members that helped fill that out as well. We had not had any volunteers resign in the last month since I reported last.
And how many do we have? How many volunteers do we have
Yeah,
actually currently?
I'd have to tally up the number right quick, but in the 30s.
Is it possible we could have a copy of your?
Sure. Yeah,
thing?
and we have it on the shared drive. If anybody wants to look at it, you can, but I'll get some hard copies if that's what you want.
There's also a list in the monthly report too.
Right,
The platoon charts. what you're
I would be
looking for.
interested in the platoon chart,
Yeah,
please.
I'll make some
Thank you.
copies.
Okay, chief, on the preparation for annual assessment.
As we go through the rolling year, we've set up milestones and that, and I think that it was pointed out that we have maybe skipped one of the milestones, but remember what we've done is we've kind of connected 3 separate things. We've connected our planning process that we have with our budgeting process, with our performance evaluation process. So this is the first year that we've done that, so something's bound to get lost in the confusion, but so we have been following our strategic planning process. We have an adopted business plan for 2023 with goals and objectives. We have we followed the budget process in a little bit more that we'll be talking about in a few minutes on that. And then we also have the PDP process. And as it was pointed out, in the PDP process at the November meeting, there should have been some discussion about my performance evaluation process as it goes with our annual plan and budget process. And so we will have that discussion in the meeting after this one. So one thing I do want to add, though, that is part of the adoption of our goals and objectives and budget and so forth, we're continuing to coordinate that all with our comp plan that we have. And in January, what we're going to start doing is you'll see a monthly calendar of the items as we've identified, as you saw in the original draft of this thing, about things that are happening. And based on what you will do or how you will approve the proposal I have momentarily, it will be reflected on the things that we need to do on a month-to-month basis from the current month and then future months and so forth. So all of this is, again, tied together on purpose. And it makes perfect sense to me. It's just a lot of work. So bear with me as we stumble from time to time on this new process. But I guess that's all I need to say. Did you have anything to add to that? Okay, glad to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. Then, and that covers both 0-02 and 1-60. So strategic staffing plan.
Well, as you know, we continue to work on a 5-year plan. We fortunately, I think, have a great process that we do, and we're looking at a one-year budget, but what sorts of impacts that budget will bow wave into the next 4 years. So actually, we're looking at a 5-year window as we make decisions, and we've done that for several years and continue to do that. And based on a lot of the work that we have done in the last several years, have refined the things that we want to do. And as you know, several years ago, we agreed on a general goal that we staff 2 fire stations around the clock to provide the service that we think we need to do for the community. We have had fits and starts. We've had shortages of staffing, which is the primary problem that we have, obviously. We've had big churn in our organization as far as what it looks like. As you know, we've have significant changes on how we're doing the deployment in the last year or two. So all of these things come into play. And this past year, I have worked with you about various options that we can do. And I refer to them as like 4 levels of planning. And, you know, there's the plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D. And each one of those is based on a certain level of funding that we get. And obviously you can't provide the service if you don't get the revenue or resources to do it. So over the last 4 or 5 years, we have basically been progressing or working under what we call the Plan B, which is essentially been a holding pattern that we've tried to do for staffing levels. Again, trying to achieve consistent, regular staffing of 2 stations, but for a number of reasons, we aren't able to do it consistently. This last month, we did it 86% of the time, which is okay, but it's not consistent. And our goal, frankly, is to do it consistently. And that also is the precursor to our ultimate goal of having 2 centrally, strategically located fire stations. And that's why we bought the land on 63rd Avenue to eventually put a East Side Fire Station. And that would happen only after and dependent upon consistent staffing at 2 different locations. So all of this has been a plan that we've done. So I worked with a senior staff on this and got input on it and everything. And a plan A emerged that really, to my mind, frankly, was provided to me through our command staff that gave us a far better opportunity to consistently and regularly staff 2 fire stations. And I've explained what the impacts for that plan A will be and potentially what the future costs will be. And what I'd like to do is recommend that you tonight adopt that what's known as Plan A, which would increase the overall staffing, both volunteer and career, to ensure that we staff 2 stations. I also understand that it will, bottom line is that we will have to have the revenue necessary to pay for that level of service. And as we've always done, we will meter out our expansion based on our ability to get new revenue. So it will walk hand in hand with our financial plan of going out and obtaining additional revenue. For example, a part of that recommendation would indicate that we need to go out, and I'm recommending next fall, for levy restoration. Right, this year, as you saw, our levy rate is $1.20, and that's down 11 cents from last year. And I don't know what it'll be in 24 if left unchecked. So I think it's absolutely imperative that in accompanying the adoption Plan A would be the commitment to seek and hopefully get a ballot measure that restores our levy rate to $1.50. That will provide a significant amount of money. Also with that, with Plan A, as I've discussed with you, would require for long-term stabilization funding for the additional fund staffing, would be to promote and host a ballot measure in 2024 that would create an excess levy that would help pay for that difference between what the base levy would provide and what our anticipated increased labor costs would be. So it will take more than a levy rate of $1.50 to pay for that level of service. And I think we need to understand that. I think we need to make sure our citizens understand that and work with communicating them on that message. So I'm recommending that the board adopt Plan A, if you will, and that would reflect a commitment to looking at future funding as well as future staffing.
Do I have a motion?
I'll move to approve Chief's recommendation to adopt Plan A as our plan for moving forward in 23 and 24 and beyond.
Do we have any discussion on this?
I'd just like to ask a clarifying question or two. What you're saying is that even though the numbers that I have here indicate that we would be increasing staffing in 2024 based on expectations of the M&O levy that would pass that year, we wouldn't actually do that until the M&O passed.
Yeah, it would be, well, and as we have done in the past, we've metered our increased staffing with our ability to pay, so absolutely. We wouldn't want to fall into a trap like some other local fire departments.
So the note on there saying if we pass, then that staffing level would be
Right.
correct.
That I'm comfortable with.
Yeah, I am too, I get it, but
Yeah, if you're willing to, with that contingency added to it, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it has to work hand in hand.
It's just
and
the way-
frankly,
the way it's
that's-
written, it doesn't look that way.
what's the contingency?
Well, understandably, that this was put together to help display that. I mean, it's not an accurate picture of staffing or not, and I don't know what, these are estimates of future revenues too, so. And assumes that the voters will approve the
And I'm all on board with the goal, and expressing that to the public and trying to get their support for it. But I can't support hiring people when when we're at the same time trying to pass the levy that's going to take money. That wouldn't work for me.
Okay, so we'll add that to the motion of making sure that we have the funding before we can hire staffing with this, but we're planning going with Plan A. Okay, can we get a vote? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Great, thanks.
Okay, thank you. With that, as part of Plan A, the proposal would be to create a 6th lieutenant position. Currently, we have 5. Currently, our strength is 3 battalion chiefs, 5 lieutenants, and 9 firefighters. I'm proposing that based on Plan A, that we plan to draw from our register of lieutenants that we currently have that we created this year to one to fill this new position that just was authorized under Plan A, and the possibility of one of our lieutenants retiring this year and then filling that vacancy as well. So what we are doing is looking at, because of the amount of time necessary to that it takes to fill vacancy, I've directed that Brandon begin a process where we create a register for firefighters. We're in that process now. We've done interviews. We do have, we just interviewed 6 candidates, 3 of which that we're passing on to the next step, which is having a background done. And then at that point, based on successfully passing that background, they could be offered positions. I currently have authority to fill one of those vacancies as a backfill. what my request would be to increase my authority from 1 firefighter to 2 firefighters at this point. To move along and fit into the process.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move that we add the additional firefighter to the group and ask for so that we are looking to hire 2 more firefighters.
Correct.
That is my move.
I second that. And do we have any more discussion on this? Can we take a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That will help.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I believe that's all I have.
Yeah.
For
So
that.
now we're secretary's report.
I sent out the minutes of November 8th, and I don't believe there were any changes made to those.
Do you make a motion?
I vote that we adopt the minutes for November 8th as presented.
I second that. All in favor?
Aye.
And then the warrants,
On the warrants.
any questions on the warrants?
I have no questions.
Okay, questions? So make a motion that we, oh, you have a question? You made the motion?
Pardon me?
You made the motion?
Yes.
Okay, you made the motion, seconded. And all in favor, adopting?
Great.
Aye.
Aye.
Also, I put out some proposed meeting dates for 2023, and they're exactly the same schedule that we're on now, second Tuesday of the month, 5:30. One reminder to me, though, is that we talked about having some of the meetings held at 83. And I'm glad you brought that up to me. I will try to do that and schedule that. But like tonight, 83 is already being used by one of our community groups. So I'll look at the calendar and see what I can do about that. But are you guys good for the dates then? We don't.
Yeah, I'll miss one, but
Pardon me?
I'll miss one, but that's.
Okay. There's always gonna be one that's gonna be.
Yeah, and I could, eating over there once a quarter or something like that. If that's.
To have it at 83, okay, yeah, just to check it out, okay. Cool.
And the
Yeah, I would,
graduation.
I'm sorry, on that topic, I would suggest we work for January would be great, start the year off, have a meeting over there, if that's possible. So I would
I'll do the best. I
suggest that
can.
as a goal,
See
and
what-
if not, then.
We'll all test the water.
Right?
Were you thinking doing every other?
We'll
every
watch.
other meeting?
Mr. Harwood, just the
Your
water.
first order.
We'll observe.
Not brown. you can drink it.
Okay.
Bring a bottle.
And then, you got a reminder that we're having the graduation on the 19th. Any questions about that?
Is it at the
South-
same?
It's at South Puget Sound, the Mottman location.
Minute Center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same slot.
And
Yeah.
6 o'clock?
Pardon?
It starts at 6?
Yeah.
Yes. 6 o'clock.
And
And
then,
then Saturday, February 4th, we're having our awards banquet in person. Well, we had it in person last time, but we kind of did the picnic thing last year. This year, we're going back to Hotel RL. And we've got a surprise for you guys. It's not really a surprise, but I'm gonna pretend it's a surprise. We've got some entertainment going on and more details to follow, but save that date, February 4th.
Yeah, our timing on that is like 5:30 or something.
We're, no, yeah, 5 to 7:30 is the fun, 8 o'clock is the ceremony.
Okay.
Ceremony's not fun.
It's all fun.
It's all more ceremonial. It's speakerifying and.
It's all up to you.
If you want to have fun.
okay.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Um,
No,
Wanna-
you can't. I'm just teasing you. Go ahead. I said, no, you can't. Yes, you can.
I wanted to thank Lieutenant Osborne. He came up with a suggestion through our community outreach team to drive around in the community featuring Santa Claus, and we did that last Friday. and it was under a constant downpour. But we had a number of, a pretty good sized team that was helping get all of that done. You know, as Travis always does, all the details were taken care of. He did a great job of managing it. And it was fun. I mean, I think that we'll probably end up doing it again next year. We used the old fire engine, driving around in the night and dark with windshield wipers that go like this. And
I thought about that because I know how slow they go, and those things must be like Bakelite or something, not soft either.
Vacuum wiper.
it was, they were not wipers, they were smushers.
Yeah.
But it was a great event. Sammy enjoyed it.
Had an opportunity yesterday to just go out and the truck looks really cute. I mean, if you want to take a look at it after the meeting here. Yeah, they did a great job of.
And did you get a lot of participants from the residents?
Oh, you know, surprisingly, I mean, some of them brought their kids out in the middle of the rain and Santa would go up and give them a handy can, and it was really, hopefully next year, the weather will be, this would be great if we could do it in July. I mean, it'd be much more effective. The timing is a little bad, so. But yeah, I thought it was great. And again, kudos to Travis for.
I would say the community of this Seashore Villa, those kids over there loved it.
I know that.
You know, what would be sort of fun for our summer one is, you know how the ice cream trucks go around, but the fire truck goes around and gives out ice cream.
Oh, there you go. That's a good idea.
Already does.
Yeah, so I.
You guys do?
Yeah, so it's something, again, it's still kind of work in progress, but, if you don't mind giving you guys an update with.
No, go ahead.
Community outreach team. So this was a event that we were lucky enough to get approved by the chief to do the Santa Run. It was a modified Santa Run. Next year, we'd like to do something. We did 3 stops in one night. The weather was awful.
Yeah,
Chief bearing through, I can't thank him enough. Next year, we'd like to do it more spaced out, maybe a couple nights,
yeah.
like the bigger departments do. They don't just rush through. It's a little more organized. But to the popsicle thing, yeah, we do a popsicle pop-up. I've got the association last year or this year was able to give me a chest freezer. And they've also supplied popsicles. So what we try to do is just go out to the 2-3 parks we have here and just on hot days. I try to put it out on social media, but really we just try to catch people out in the sun and give them popsicles. And we've got some Frisbees now, so we'll probably try to go out and throw Frisbees and any way we can connect with the community, we're gonna try. And moving forward, I'm trying to get the COT team together to come up with like a quarterly thing that maybe we can do as a department. I know you mentioned like getting people to come in. We've had some people reach out on social media asking about the holiday bazaar. Some of the things that used to happen around here. Now that COVID's somewhat gone, people are starting to really see other departments doing things. And so we've gotten some inquiries. So obviously everything is takes funding. So just working with the COT team members and the association and the department to try to come together and see what we can do to extend a hand and help out.
Yeah, well, if you need any help from board members, I'd be more than happy to help you guys. with
Yeah,
that.
100%. We'll try to have at least somebody from the COT team make a presence at these meetings so that we can keep you guys informed and connected as best we can.
Yeah, nice.
And one other thing, tomorrow afternoon, I'm hosting, well, the department is hosting a lunch for all the volunteer non-response staff, which is basically 10 reception staff and Gymsopolis. So if any of you are interested in coming by and saying hi, it'll be the very first time I have them all together in one room at once.
And what time is
They
that?
usually work their own shift, so.
What time is that?
Lunch is gonna be like 12:15 to 1. And then I've got Amber Sullivan coming in at like 1:15 to do a demonstration on CPR. The intent originally was to teach them CPR, but most of them, several of them aren't physically able to do that. So
Yeah.
we're just gonna do a presentation and. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we have review and follow. Chief,
I'm sorry.
review and follow up.
Oh,
We're
yes.
all done with,
Okay.
oh, actually, no, we have commissioner comments first. I would like to thank the new recruits for coming. There you are. One of you, the other one's gone. And thank you and welcome to the department and the team and So,
Yeah, I appreciate you having me.
And thank you to you, Glo, for all your fabulous donations for the Christmas dinner. That went really well.
it was,
She bought all those presents for the children and donated all the Christmas trees. that were-
Will we have pictures available?
yes, but Victor has to get a bigger thumb drive. And then he dumped his bag, so he lost one of the thumb drives in the car, and I looked and looked and
Oh,
looked,
no.
and so. I'm gonna sort of go through his bag and see if I can find it. Maybe there's a hidden pocket somewhere that he doesn't realize. Sort of like look past your nose kind of thing. But I tore that car apart and I couldn't find it, so I don't know what happened.
It's not in the driveway.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to have him retrace his tracks. But yeah, so we will have pictures as soon as he has to go up to the West Side Best Buy to get the bigger whatever. It's something technical that I don't understand. Okay, review of policy.
Yeah, sure. Based on the work we did tonight, we will have a final expense budget. Hopefully by the 23rd, when we have our next meeting. And I'll get it out as soon as I can so that you all have a chance to look at it and do that. We really needed to wait until the decisions were made to what that would be. So I'll be working on that. We will be working on now with the adoption of Plan A, looking at the staffing further. We'll also incorporate what recommended strategy for communicating based on our comm plan, and I'm expecting that we'll talk with that more about that in January as we launch this thing. And graduation on the 19th and the awards banquet on the 4th.
Okay, so I guess we adjourn this meeting at 6:08.
Are we having a session afterwards?
And then we will have an executive session on performance review. And there will be no action taken. No adjourn. So we're adjourned. Thank you guys for all coming. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, thank you.
Nice to see the balloons be back there.
Some of them look real good.